Welcome back to Blacksheep Barbell Podcast. Today we have Jacob Saetre on the show. He is a strength and conditioning coach, and he also does the marketing for Sorinex, which they run Squatober and December.
Yeah, Ethan and I have been big fans of Sorinex for a while, obviously partaking in Squatober and December. We actually had the chance to visit the Sorinex HQ a couple years ago, which was a super exciting time. So we're really excited for this one. It's going to be a pleasure having Jacob on. And if you guys have seen some of the advertising for Squatober for the merchandise, Jacob actually partakes in recording a lot of that and editing. So
when did you start working for Sorinex? When did you start there?
I started in February of this year.
Okay.
They opened up a media position / marketing. My background is in strength conditioning. My everything, all work experience were strength conditioning related. And then once I saw that position open up, I was like, dude, I have this skill that I keep in the bag. Like, let's see how this goes. Let me just throw my portfolio to them, see if they like it. And then they ended up flying me out. Met with them. That was I want to say it was in November. And then I officially started in February.
Okay.
And so they flew me out. Again, incredible hospitality by them. Put me up, talked to the guys all day, showed me everything, kind of told me what the gig was, and kind of the work environment, and then hit me up a little bit later. They let me finish out what I had going on in Dallas, and then I was out here by February.
So you moved there then? You moved?
Yeah, that was one of the things was it was, a lot of times you can kind of do, your remote editing or like fly in for certain events and shoot or whatever. So I wasn't sure what it was, but it was on site because they really needed they roll out a lot of different products all the time. So like whether it's anything from a t-shirt launch to behind the scenes footage of a new machine or something. But yeah, they wanted me to go out there. And honestly, I've loved it out here. It's been
No, it was really nice.
Good.
It was
that's
really
awesome.
nice.
Yeah. Were they a company you were keeping up with for a while? Like prior to that position, were you aware of them for some time?
Yeah. So in college, graduated college 2020. So I did a strength conditioning internship during college. And that's kind of when I stumbled upon them, was kind of those strength coaches and got aware of Squatober and all that. And then I actually did my strength conditioning internship at the University of Oregon. And that's one of like the best weight rooms in the nation, made by Sorinex. And so like getting to be involved in that weight room just led me a lot of connections to Sorinex, whether it be directly or indirectly. So I'd been keeping up with them for a while. And, I was a huge Squatober guy. I think last year I think I bought like damn near everything that they were selling.
That was me this year.
Yeah. Dude, well, it's funny because like last year I bought the belt, I bought, all this different stuff. And then this year I'm on this side of it and I'm like, this is it. This is the whole thing. And you're like, yeah, this is it. This is what got you, like,
Yeah.
And so, but it's cool because, even when we're going through that launch stuff and how to drop stuff or whatever that marketing is behind it, like, yes, they've done it multiple times, but then they're like, okay, why did you buy all this stuff? Like what made you do that? You have like your own data, like right in front of you. Like, what is the lore behind Squatober? And it's like, dude, you just don't get like a couple of guys just grinding out a whole month of squats and then seeing how that goes. Like it's one of those things where it's awesome, dude. And so being on that side of it was definitely something that was different, but I've been keeping up with the company for a long time.
That's good.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm super excited to have you on. Big fan of Squatober and Sorinex and pen and paper strength. I've been keeping up with you guys for so long. Like I said, it started when I was in the military. I was just that guy, didn't really do legs. My whole thought process when I was in the military, I was like, all the running we do, that's my leg workout. And I remember we were in the field one day and like I said, I came across a post. I'm like, what is this? Started digging deeper into it, found out about Squatober, and man, I've been sticking with it ever since. Got some guys out there in the military into doing it. Did it for a few years. I'm like, yeah, I want to bring this back home. Like I want to introduce this to my friends, Ethan, get everybody on the Squatober train. So it's been super exciting. Like I said, it's like my favorite time of year.
Dude, like there's something about it, right? There's something about it, about one, completing it, right?
Yeah.
And like just completing any program. That's one thing that's super cool with like PPSA is like, all right, like I'm gonna stick these percentages, I'm gonna get this workout done, and then like you're beat afterwards.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, what the heck? But like I can go do tomorrow. Like I know tomorrow we got Seesaw tomorrow. It's gonna be like those sets of 10 are gonna suck, but I'm gonna be able to do it, right? And so it's funny that the Jason thing's what caught your attention because like for us marketing wise, when we look at social media, it's like it's hit or miss, right? We put a lot of professional stuff out there. So like the Squatober t-shirt reveal, like went out there, made a mock grave at 9 p.m. to our Sorinex farm and, sawed the whole 9, lights in the forest, like whatever, just for the one shot of the hand coming up.
Yeah.
And does great, gets, 120K views. We post a meme of Jason walking downtown, like doing like a Planet Fitness, like
I remember that video.
and it goes off for like 4 mil. So it's like something that the media team makes in 4 minutes of a meme goes for 4 million, and then something that you put all day into is like it's an awesome video, but it's like all right, so we see where we're at with social media, like that's and that's what it is though. Like if we can get your attention and you're just like, what is this? This sounds cool. Then you can kind of fall into the story and just do it with the community. So it's awesome.
Yeah. That's something we found with this podcast too, is sometimes there's certain clips that pop off with the views. Mind you, we are a new podcast, but it's like sometimes we'll put a clip out there. We're like, I didn't really expect this to get as many views as I thought that this one would, or episodes are like, what's going on with that? But hey, you got to live and you learn. And I guess just there's some things that catch people's eye or, but it's all part of the process.
Yeah, dude, that's one thing that when I was looking at your guys' stuff is like seeing all the clips and stuff that you guys are chopping up and the different angles and pulling back and forth and attacking that. Cause going at it from my angle of like, all right, if one of the guys like asked me to produce his podcast, like how am I going to do it? What clips am I going to kind of give him, like this and that? Like, so you guys are crushing it, dude. All the clips popping up and all that. So it'll keep going. It'll go a long way for sure.
I appreciate it. And a lot of credit to Ethan. He takes on the bulk of the work, and I know that's his background with the filming, the editing, photography, and I do give him a lot of credit for all that. So
yeah, I edit for my full-time job too. So I do that, and then I come home, and then I got to do the podcast, and then I do the clips. It's a lot, but get it done. Yeah. It's all right.
And we're dedicated to it. Like I said, it's an hour drive for me out here. But, it's like we love doing this, man. The networking and the people that we've been able to meet, such as yourself, and, just the fact that now we have somebody on that's connected to Sorinex, in Squatober. I mean, it's just surreal. And this is why we do it. This is why we do it, for these opportunities to speak with people like yourself.
Yeah, dude. And honestly, like someone like me, like as soon as I left college, I left the state I was, from. And so I went to Oregon, which wasn't a huge difference. It was like Washington State to Oregon. All right, not bad. I could still drive home if I needed to. Okay, Oregon to Dallas, Texas. Okay, now I'm in the central country, many states away from my family. Like I gotta make connections, and I gotta be able to do that. Right. And so now to have a virtual platform where you guys can be in Michigan and I can be in South Carolina and still make a connection and talk shop and get to know each other. It's one of those things that wasn't available to, our parents at the time and stuff like that. So, no, dude, this is great. And, being able to connect and share knowledge or gain knowledge either way you can't put a price tag on that. The value's there. Right. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. What, so did you do, like photography and videography a long time before like starting this, or was that like your career goal?
No, it really wasn't. So, it kind of started with like, I kind of got in a little bit to graphic design when I was in high school. We had a pretty good photographer that did all of our sports stuff. So like he would release all of our football photos and basketball photos like Friday, and I would just snag a bunch of photos, and then I would just pump out like sports edits of like my friends and whatever. I'd be on YouTube until like 2 a.m. trying to figure out how I can download Topaz for not the full price, and then mess around with all that stuff. And so that's kind of where it started, was just kind of getting some knowledge there. And then my mom also like recorded my games, and she had like a little DSLR that once I went to college, she just kind of put in the closet. And one of my buddies actually in college, he's like, dude, let's go shoot some like night photography. Like I have a camera, like I'll show you some stuff. And I was like, oh dude, I brought my mom's camera too. Like maybe I'll just take mine. And so we started shooting like astrophotography, which was like super cool to me because I'd never been exposed to like a long exposure. Like he's like, dude, your shutter's gonna stay open and then it's gonna close in like 30 seconds and you're gonna see all these different things. And I was just like blown away.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like my intro to photography. And then with that came like like shooting parties or shooting different grad photo sessions or stuff like that. And so I really had like a kit lens and maybe like a nifty 50. And I kept that with me until I moved to Dallas, really. And when I was in Dallas, I was doing personal training. And when I moved down there, it was just like on a part-time job. It was like, all right, you're going to work at D1 training, as many personal clients as you can bring in, like go ahead and crush them. And then you're going to have like maybe 8 classes a week. Well, I'm going down there with the mindset that I'm going to work 40 hours a week and I'm going to get paid for 40 hours a week. And so once I realized that, I was like, I got paid for like 22 hours this week because I didn't have very many personal training clients because I was new and I'm not going to take all the classes on. So how can I get a little bit more value while I'm in this building? Because in Dallas, you're not leaving midday to go home because traffic is an hour home wherever you live. So, and so I started talking to my boss and I was like, hey dude, like I know we have a video guy that comes every so often. I don't know much about video. I do have a camera though. And I'll shoot some photos. I'll learn some video. Just like, if you like it, let's talk. He's like, cool. Right. And so that's when I finally upgraded to, I think I bought like an A7 III after I got scammed. I got scammed on Facebook. I got scammed on Facebook with my first camera.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I got scammed.
Jeez.
And it was like, I want to say I found like I thought it was a good deal. It was like maybe like $800. It was too good to be true. Whatever.
Yeah.
Got scammed. Ended up buying an A7 III with like a 35, and started filming and just like YouTube again. Right back to high school where I was on YouTube, learning how to make the sports edits. And then just learning about like filming, right? And then stumbling upon all the different YouTube videos there is. And then once he liked that, my boss, this was in Dallas, he also owned the D1 in Waco and was like, hey, I need you to take over the Waco facility and do media for there too. And I was like, it's like an hour and a half drive. What are we talking money wise? And so, I had to drive down every other week, like 2 days a week. And during that drive, I would leave at like 4 a.m. But that night I would like pick out a couple YouTube videos to just throw on the dash and like listen to. And so I would get into Waco and have like a whole plan of like, okay, I saw these videos about how to do this. Like, I'm going to go try it right now and see if it works.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's how I learned videography. And then recently, within the last year, I bought an FX3, and that's really what I've been really diving into a lot of video. And so, and that's I sent a couple of the projects I did over to Sorinex, and they're like, well, with your background of like knowledge of strength conditioning, and then your ability to, and you can get better at, producing media, this kind of fits too well, So, definitely interesting. Definitely not a path that I expected to go down. But it's cool because like we can sit in the conference room and Bert can tell me this idea that he has about why the inverse loading on the back attack is so different than a good morning. And my strength conditioning background can understand that. And then my like media head can like, okay, how can I put that into a 20-second reel? How can I put that whole freaking lesson into a 20-second reel for someone to understand while they're on the toilet at work? Like how are we going to do that? So it just worked. And honestly, the connections that I made in both Dallas and Waco probably led me to where I am now. So
that's awesome, man.
That's amazing.
It seems like you were just the perfect guy for the role, and it stemmed from putting yourself out there, right? I mean, essentially like, hey, I got this idea. I'm willing to do this for you guys. And boom, I mean, look what it stemmed into.
yeah, it was really that first step of like not knowing, but not willing to fail.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't gonna go out there and not try and not learn, because if I'm never willing to take that step, I have nothing to gain,
Right.
right? I have nothing to lose because I'm not getting anything, right? But I have nothing to gain by just being reserved. Taking that first step into something that's unknown is like, all right, put up or shut up. It's time to go. So
Definitely.
Yeah, that's
um,
it's kind of similar to, when we were starting this podcast because I went to school for filmmaking and cinematography and I moved for it and everything, and then but I also fell in love with mainly powerlifting. And then when I came back here, I was like, well, we should do a video podcast to kind of mix the both because I know how to do both. So it's just something, I think it's great to mix those things, and plus reels and everything, to understand both of that can really like help you grow as both, either your podcast or your cinematography, or just as someone that, likes lifting.
it starts with that interest, right? I gotta have a little bit of interest in there,
Yeah.
and then let it run wild. And so,
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
interesting.
that's kind of what we did. Like he was just saying, is we basically combined our two interests, right? I mean, for the longest, Ethan was, was super passionate of his when it comes to filming, right? Shooting, always wanted to, make films or whatever. And with my interest in lifting, we're like, well, we need to combine the two, right? And let's develop this podcast where, he's kind of got the filming, the editing down packed, and, my knowledge and background of lifting, and it just came together, and, we were able to make it work. And I like how you said, nothing really comes from being reserved, right? I mean, when you're reserved and you're always kind of taking that step back and taking that seat back, I mean, it's kind of common sense. What do you expect to come your way? It's like you got to be willing to put yourself out there and take those risks. And, that's a great story that you have, because look what's came, from willing to take that risk and get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny. I tell a lot of people that like I talk to often, like a lot when they talk about, or they ask about like where I'm from, or kind of the story, because everyone here is new. I met them in the last year. And so, um, it's funny because I'll reference it. I'm like, dude, I know exactly what's going on in my hometown. Friday night, Saturday night, Monday through Wednesday, it's dead. Thursday, you got locals at the bar. Friday, same stuff over and over and over again. I know probably exactly where I would be if I was back home doing the same stuff. Like, and no offense to that, because like I love my people back home and that's the life they want to live. But I've grown, and I tell everybody it's a cheat code. It's a cheat code to go out and meet new people. It's a cheat code to leave your home state and force yourself into a comfort, or a growth zone for your comfort. So
Yeah.
there's so much to be gained just by putting yourself out there and being uncomfortable. I actually had this talk this morning. So I have a guy at work pretty close with, and he's like, are you ice bathing before you train every morning? I'm like, not every morning, but yeah, I do it pretty often. And we're talking back and forth about the effects of it, everything like that. And I go, honestly, I think the biggest effect I get from it is not wanting to do it in the morning, forcing myself to do it, and I've won my first battle of the day.
Yep.
That's
That's
my
exactly
next battle.
what we were talking
He's
about.
said exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If my next battle of the day is the gym, like I'm set up to go 2 for 2. Like
Yep.
I've already done the first one. Let me go right into that second one full head of steam.
Yeah,
So
that's exactly the
Yeah,
exact
dude.
same
It's
thing
like-
I was talking about was with the ice baths.
Yeah.
Is that mental win. That
really have to.
yeah. It's that mental win, right? Like just taking on that first challenge of the day, like, it's like, yeah, you get the physical effects, they're there, but it's that what I'm really looking for is that mental battle. Is like first thing in the morning, it's cold outside, you got some cold water right here. Your body and your mind is like, no.
Mhm.
You're like, I'm going to do it anyways, no matter how I feel. There's going to be a couple seconds, some procrastination there, but I'm going to make sure I'm getting in this tub, right?
And it's one of those things too, like early in the morning, I'm in there just like me and my thoughts in this cold, right? And it's one of those few places where you can really just go into a place and just isolate, like how bad you don't want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want to be in this cold water right now, and I know I have X amount of minutes left, but I'm going to do it. And it's like it's not physical, but like you can see the mental battle happening with yourself, and it's like I just won that. What's
Yeah.
next?
Yeah.
What's next?
Exactly.
So
That's how I've looked at so many things in my life, right? Is like to be willing to put yourself through that battle, because as we all know, there's a lot of people that they're not willing to do that. And it's like something so simple as having a little bit of cold water in front of you and just being able to take on that challenge and put yourself through that little bit of pain for that mental win to set yourself up for the day.
I used to tell my clients all the time is like those little mental battles, they add up no matter how big or how, whatever it could be. Someone's mental battle could be, jumping out of an airplane. Like, awesome. That is way above my battle capacity.
Yeah.
But tell you what, my first one of standing, under a cold shower for the last 60 seconds of my shower, that's a small battle that I win, right? Getting up, the first alarm that goes off, not needing 8 alarms. Like if I can get up on that first alarm, I've won that battle, right? So just little things. Like I used to tell my clients all the time, wake up, drink a glass of water, something that's beneficial for you. Nothing stopping you from doing it, but yourself, right?
Yeah.
Can you mentally just pour yourself a glass of water and drink it?
Yeah.
And when you zoom out of that perspective of like what you have going on in your day, it's like, man, I wasn't even disciplined enough to drink a glass of water.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
let's look at some things here. How can I stack some W's up?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. So I did a little bit of personal training. I have my personal training certification, and for a little bit before the job that I have now, I was at a local gym doing some training. And when I would have clients and, I'm consulting with them about training, when you get somebody that's never worked out before and they're intimidated by it, I'm like, hey, listen, I want you to know that if you're able to go outside and go for a nice little 10-minute walk, that's a start, right? That's you can progress from that. That's a win for you. And so it's like I try to always tell people, don't be intimidated by, oh, you got to be in the gym immediately and take on this long program or this intense workout. It's like stack up your W's. Get a little walk in. Let's start from there. Let's build that 10-minute walk into 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, so on and so forth. It's like all those little challenges, they build up to bigger things.
that's literally like foundation of training, right? Is like 1 rep, 2 rep, 3 rep, right? You build your work capacity over and over again. It replicates a lot of things in life. And I think people that have been in, call it the fitness industry, call it whatever you want, they start to realize that because it replicates a lot of things in life, right? Can I wake up? Can I go to my job? Can I provide for my family if I have one and chase after what I want to do? Can I get my warm up in? Can I hit my first set? Can I hit my second set? Can I do that? Right? Because guess what? It's going to go make me able to do whatever I want to go do. Right? I don't want to be 50 years old and not be able to throw the football around with the kids. Like that's a genuine fear I have. Like that's not like there's no option for that. Right? And so, like you said, it's just stacking the W's up, however big or small it is for you.
Right.
And it's so on a personal scale of like, man, public speaking's not my thing, but guess what? Spoke in front of 5 people today. Let's go. Like
Definitely.
and you go to someone that's like, that does like public speaking for a living, and like, oh, that's easy. We got to kind of have the mindset that like, it's easy for you. Someone had a really hard time talking to 2 or 3 people today and they won that battle.
Yeah.
Right. And so just it's so individualized, and the best thing you can do is just give yourself more battles to win.
Yeah. That's something I took on with this podcast. I'm not, the biggest fan of public speaking. I took like a public speaking class in college. I was like terrified at first. I'm like, oh shit. But especially, speaking in front of the camera and talking with different people, like, like I just said, it's never been my biggest thing, but I'm like, I'm going to do it anyways. Right. And it's only going to get better. I'm only going to get more comfortable from doing it. But it's like the only way to get more comfortable is by actually doing it. It's like I can run away from it my whole life, but what good is that going to do me?
That's how, for me, like I'm usually behind the camera, so it's still new for me to even be in front of it and doing this. But it even with like powerlifting, like why we prefer powerlifting over like bodybuilding and that is because you get those little W's, right? Like we're getting new PRs and training for these like setting these goals and winning in a sense, right? That's why like Squatober is so rewarding when you do it, because in the beginning your 1 rep max, and by the end you have, I think my first year, I think it went up like 15 pounds or something crazy, or 20 pounds. So like that's super rewarding too. Just keep going at it.
Yeah, dude. And like like the mindset of powerlifting is to compete, right?
Yeah.
You're up against people that weigh the same. Mass is gonna move mass, right? So someone heavier, yeah, they probably got me, right? But guess what? Every day I'm going in, me versus me, and I got that dog mentality of I'm gonna train my hardest. That way when I get to the form, I know I did everything I could beforehand to knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
Boom. There it is. I set a new standard.
Yeah.
Right. And then that standard starts to become like the normal. And I got a new one. And then I got a new one. And it's just like, what more? Right. And so Squatober is so special because like you have a whole community of people that like bodybuilding, the most egregious functional strength coaches you've ever seen in your life, power lifters, everybody come together and just proving like I can do this. Like that's the biggest thing with Squatober is like you're going to it with your hip flexors are fired up, your glutes are sore.
Yeah.
But we got 60% for 5 today. We're gonna get it done.
Yeah.
So
The first week's tough always. Every year. It's always tough.
dude,
Yeah.
like no matter what. And then it hits like the little like mid-cycle little testing, and you're like, all right. For some reason, even though I was sore, I got this. Or you don't have it. And it's like,
Yeah.
I might need to bump this back a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I've always, been super passionate about these months because I think it's just it's a prime example of the rewards that you get from consistency, right? Like being able to go in there, you're sore, no matter what's going on. You're like, all right, I got to squat today. I got these reps and these sets, and this is what I got to do. And it's funny, every time I introduce somebody to Squatober or talk to them about it, they're like shocked at first. They're like, squatting every day? I'm like, hell yeah. I'm like, listen, a lot of people would probably advise against this, but the results are they speak for themselves, right? It's like taking on that challenge. It's like, hey, the work don't lie. Like it's in the work. The results are there.
but at some point, walking was new to everybody.
Yeah.
Walking was challenging, right?
Yeah.
Running was challenging. I can remember back to like my first time playing on an organized football team. That first conditioning sucked. It hurt. I was sore, right? But then you get used to it. Then you build, right? And then sometimes you run a little bit further. Sometimes you run a little bit shorter. As long as you take the pattern of squatting and we adjust your load properly and you do that right, you can do it. You can do it for a month. Trust me.
Yeah.
And you're going to get the most out of it when you got someone like Aaron who programs it, that's been at the highest level of, collegiate strength conditioning. He knows a thing or two. So
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of good results. And the amount of people that PR on bench afterwards,
Right.
like,
Oh yeah.
because it's not the main focus, but guess what? It's still strength training. It's still consistent, and you're working hard.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to boil it down to 3 things: consistency, hard work, and a real program, you'll go somewhere, right? So
Yeah, definitely. You
Yeah.
get that little
Squatober's
surprise
awesome.
PR with the
yeah.
And
Exactly.
we have always done the pen and paper programs.
Yeah.
Love Benjamin Franklin. That's like a staple. I love that one.
Yeah.
We've done countless of them. We have like a whole thing of them. We do. Sometimes we repeat them.
One of the first things I asked Aaron was like, I was like, do you really are you writing these things on the paper? Because they all look good. Like the aesthetic of all of these, like whatever, pool season, and the guys are just jacked at the pool, like, and it all goes together. Like, no, dude, he crushes it, and it's all really, really good programming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I always recommend his stuff to people.
I'm saying.
Always. Even is it Oak Tree? That's like the kind of beginner one. That's the one I started with when I started working out consistently, and I kept using them. I kept going, and all of them. I just love them all.
You see great results.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't lie. The results are there. And so like he just said, a lot of people that, I talk to that want to get into lifting, I always recommend pen and paper programs to them. I always tell them about pen and paper and Sorinex. I'm like, hey, you should keep up with these companies here because they know what they're talking about. I've been doing the programs for, like 6 years now. And it's like, that's what I stick with because it works and it's fun.
Yeah, dude, like a solid strength training base, right? Take your ego and just like put it to the side, right? There's so many of us that want to go in and feel like they just died at the workout because that's the response from my body. Oh, I just worked so hard that like I'm out of it. I'm falling right to sleep. Like I'm eating like a truckload of food, and then I'm super, super sore the next day. And I just want to kill myself, like doing all that stuff. And it's like a true strength training program. If you work hard, you'll get sore, but you shouldn't feel like death every single time you work out, right? You should have a high CNS day. You should have a low CNS day. Like there's different ways to mitigate some of those stress levels on your body, but still benefit in a strength capacity. And so like having someone that's like Aaron that writes all those programs brings that to light when people are like, I don't know, just throw up a watt on the board and it's going to kill me. Yes, it's going to be very hard. Like your CrossFit workout is very hard. And if you stay injury free and you complete that, you will be jacked. Odds of that happening without injury or your low back hurting, whatever it is. Yeah. But like, you don't need to kill yourself every single time you work out to see a response. Definitely. And actually the more you can stay consistent on managing your load, your growth just keeps going. You don't have those stops, start down, up, you stay consistent and you're just growing and getting stronger consistently. And so people want to see those overnight results, dude. They want to feel like they just crushed it in the gym. And that's a feeling that like you love. You leave a gym like, dang, I crushed it. Like that took it out of me. But if it takes the next 2 days out of you too, like what did we really gain, from a holistic level? So
that's what I've always explained to people too with the squatting every day. I'm like, you don't realize like there's days where the recovery is built in. When those loads are, those percentages are a lot lighter. That's your recovery day. Like you're still doing the movement, you're still getting the workout in, but the loads are being dropped down a little bit to, tend to your recovery and still being able to get that session in and go through the movements, but it's not as intense of a day.
Yeah, that's one of the first times as a strength conditioning coach that I like understood that movement is recovery.
Yeah.
Like doing, when I'm super sore, the last thing I want to do is just sit still and let lactic acid build and not get any blood in my muscles. Like I should go do that at a much moderate level, even body weight, like move my legs around, get some blood flowing because, that promotes my recovery. And so like, that was one of the first times, one of my first Squatobers where I was like, wait a second, I feel better after we just did that, set a 10 at 35%. I thought it was going to be a joke, but that felt way better.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's been a great time. When I reflect on, because I have like a decent garage gym setup, and when I reflect back at like some of the best training sessions we've had, it's always been Squatober or December and just having a boatload of people in there. Yeah. And it's like, we have our group chats and we're all sending, the workout for the day. We're like, oh goodness, 90%. Like, all right, I'll see you guys at 5:00.
It's literally it's that community aspect. And it's the same thing even on Instagram. That's why I love it, because people are posting their videos of their progress and, Squatober pages sharing them. And it's just that community aspect that's so positive, and it's just so much fun. I look forward to Squatober more than like anything else. I think like we wait for it every year.
Well, dude, and that's literally like how I've been the past 5 years. And then I was telling you guys, like being on the other side of it of like, all right, what are we dropping this year? Like secretly wanting to know like what the drops are gonna be. Yeah. And then like, hey dude, I need you to take some product, like all this stuff that we're about to drop. And it's like, let's go.
Yes.
Let's go. And so, dude, like being on the other side of it and being able to just like express to the guys that have been there, like our marketing team's been there for a while, well over 5 years, most all of them. And so like being expressed, like the lore of Squatober is just like, dude, I waited until the drops last year and I bought damn near everything. Like I walked upstairs and like, we have the coolest desks in the world. Yeah. They're like the Sorinex, all the like the Sorinex custom desks and stuff, whatever.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I throw my Squatober belt up there, and the guy's like, "Did you buy that?" Like thought it was like the weirdest thing that I bought the belt. I was like, yes, this is like the coolest thing I have. Like, what do you mean? Like, I love this thing.
Yeah.
And so it's cool to see both sides of it. It's cool to see all the effort that goes into, everything from the shirt design's a whole thing.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, is that like, do you guys like sit in a meeting? You're like, all right, this design, this design, this design, or like, how do you guys come up with that?
So we have a guy that designs most of our merch, and he's actually remote, but he's on our marketing team.
Okay.
He comes in like once a month or so, but he collaborates with Aaron, who does the programming, and kind of gets some ideas about like, all right, what's kind of the theme this year? Like, remember last year it was like big bend energy, like everything.
Yeah.
This one was like squats never stop. It's like, all right, so like let's try to incorporate this and like let's find a style that works. And they do all that without us. A lot of times we're still at home base doing, product releases or machine releases, or like flying out to a different college and doing whatever. But then one day, it was so funny because one day there's like a little clothes rack that's down in the sales office. And I walk by and I see all these Squatober shirts, and I'm like looking at them and I'm like, all right,
I'd be
which
geek,
one do I
man.
think it's going to be? Which one do I think it's going to be? Whatever. And then, the design was kind of finalized pretty quick, like, whatever Bert's feeling, and then whatever Aaron's feeling is kind of what they're going to go with. And then all the merch is kind of based off of that. And then whatever, a lot of times, like, we will listen, we'll see a lot of the comments, and we'll see stuff like, you guys should do this, you guys should do that. And it's like, all right, that's great. I know like 5 people that would really love that. No one else. Great idea though. Yeah. And then like figuring out stuff like that. So like, dude, being on this side of it was just so ridiculous. Seeing that, like, dude, when we drop the shirts, that we have a label printer that prints out shipping labels.
Just going.
That's so cool. It was one of us. We literally, did you just stay up all night?
Yeah. So funny story. So I work nights with my job right now. And when the release came out, I just got off work and I'm like, I got to stay up a couple hours. And I'm refreshing the page and everything. I'm like, there it is. Like, add to cart.
It was funny. I was waiting for it to drop. I was just like laying in bed looking at it, and I dozed off, and I literally dreamed about it. I dreamed about it dropping and buying it. I don't know. I just love that. And I think it released like 5 minutes early this year. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I think it did.
Yeah. So what happens is we got to make sure the website works. So like you got to make the page go live, and then like make sure there's no errors on it, and then make sure it's formatted right, and then make sure it can actually be added to the cart. And then it's like, all right, post it.
Yeah.
So like,
that's cool.
Some of the stuff definitely gets goes live early, but usually not super early.
Yeah, but I saw it immediately, and I was like, buy now. I don't care. I'm just buying it. I was just like, buy now.
Buy now. Not even looking at the funds.
No.
I tell you what's crazy is like all those labels being printed, right? And we got a bunch of people in the shop packing stuff. Like there's stuff everywhere, and you're packing it into a bag, slap the label on, throw it out. Like it's like all hands on deck. Oh my gosh. And then the next day it's like, hey, I accidentally ordered it to the wrong address. Like, can I look for it? And I'm like, there's no way, right? I'm like talking to the guys. I'm like, there's no way we can find this order because there's so many orders. And they're like, no, they're gonna have to just send it back, and then we'll hook them up with a new one or whatever. So
yeah,
dude, it's a whole thing. It is a whole thing, and it takes over. Like I said, it took over the last month and a half of prepping the t-shirt launch, prepping, all the different equipment and stuff like that. And then trying to find new ways to do stuff. Like, it's been 10 years of Squatober. How can we make this feel brand new?
Right.
Like someone that's going to do this for the first year, like how are they amazed with it every single time they see something? So,
yeah, which, you guys have done a great job. Saying so myself, like just seeing the different designs and everything. It's like, man, these guys kill it every year. Like every time, it's like that brand new feeling like, oh my God,
It's a big thing. It's a big thing. And it's probably the biggest thing we do, like on a ground-based level, right? You talk about like high priority rooms, like, University of Washington or Alabama or Georgia, like stuff like that. Like not just everyone gets to go in and see that equipment or use that equipment even, right? There's no Planet Fitness that just has Sorinex racks with jammers that are Uber kitted out, like that just have all that stuff. Like no one gets to just do that. So for us to be able to be in that market a little bit of just like, this is for everybody. This isn't for the government squad that has a huge Army-based facility. This isn't for the best of the best college football teams or NBA team. This is for everybody, right?
Yeah.
And we try to make that a thing for everybody where, you know, our bumper plates, right? The bumper plates that we sell are expensive, but they're expensive for us to make. Like everything's made in the US. And so it's one of those things where it's like, how can we still stay connected and be, you know, authentic? Because we're not going to do it just for clicks and likes. We're going to do it because it's badass. It's what we do. Right. So, yeah, dude, Squatober it's taken over the last month and a half. It'll take over this month. I'm excited to do it at Sorinex, like train at Sorinex and do Squatober there. Like I went over and grabbed like our Squatober plates and I was like, am I going to use these today for Squatober?
That's
like,
so cool.
Yeah. So no, it's been a dream. It's been a dream being able to train at HQ.
Yeah.
That has been freaking awesome. Like, and my desk is like in that little lofted area that looks over the showroom. So it's just like go train in the morning, rinse off, go upstairs. What do I got for the day?
Yeah. I remember when we went there, I was just like, we were just at awe of just how amazing that facility is. And even like where the deadlift platform was, it was just cool. All the art on the wall.
It was like a kid in a candy store, man. We went through. I was like, we're trying everything out. I'm like, man, I'm about to get a full body workout. Like I got to try every single piece of equipment in here.
It's so funny because when they flew me down for the interview, you know, they're kind of telling me a little bit of background. I go, you don't got to tell me. I know. It's like I don't need to be a fanboy, but like. I know. Yeah. I know that this is the replica of Pops's first ever deadlift platform. I know that this is like all of this and like, you know, I've seen this place and they're like, so you really know the brand? And I was like, yeah, maybe a little bit, you know, like.
Yeah, that was us when we walked in. I remember Bert was right there in like the front lobby, like when you walk in, and we talked to him for a little bit. And he's like, yeah, you guys feel free to like work out, you know, take a look around and stuff like that. And we're like, really? And so we're going around. He's like, you guys want a water? I'm like, yeah. And, you know, we like bought like a couple pieces of merch while we were there and they brought us back some stickers and stuff. I'm like, man, like, I don't want to leave this place. It's like, I want to stay here as long as I can.
Know. And it was funny when we like went on our phone to buy it and he just ran outside and grabbed it because it didn't have to be shipped. It was just funny.
Yeah, it was a great experience, man. I'm curious. I've always been curious. I don't know if you can talk about it at all, but I've always wondered. So, like, after this Squatober, like, usually, when is it that you guys start prepping for, like, the next one when it comes to, like, getting that design and everything?
The design and everything probably starts as early as, you know, half a year out. Okay. Like, we try to nail the design and stuff and just have it ready because once we know it's time to print shirts, like, printing, like the t-shirt presses are they're still printing Squatober shirts.
Oh wow.
Like, and we started in August.
Oh wow.
Like it is a ton of shirts. And so we know like beforehand, we got to be on top of it. And we try to have a lot of the stuff finalized, whether it be, you know, the accessories or, you know, what shorts we're doing or whatever like that is. Our guy that works remote he kills that. He does so good. And a lot of the times we don't even feel the stress of it because like he just handles it. So, but the prep for it starts early.
Yeah. I'm sure it's the same deal for like December because that's coming up. I'm sure you guys are already ready for that.
You bet.
Yeah.
You bet.
Yeah, that one's exciting too.
Well, it's so funny because like I don't remember who was mentioning it, but they're like, all right, so when are we going to do a bench one? And they're like,
that was
you guys already.
I commented that on one of them like a few times, like a bench Vember, because we would do one. We would
do
make
kind
one.
of our own.
Yeah.
For a few years now, we've dedicated November to benching, and what we've done in the past is I've used some of Pen and Paper's bench programs for that month. Or last year, I actually tried to make my own. And we followed that. And we've always done Squatober for October. November is bench focus. And then we got December. And then January rolls around and we're just sad.
I think it was funny because like someone had said that, and they're like the marketing team was just like, you guys know how much effort it is to do Squatober, right? And then they're like, and then December, like 2 months after that, it's like, so you want to throw a third one in? And someone's like, what about like Brovember? Like just like biceps and triceps just nonstop. And we're like, what, come on now.
Yeah, do like Coach Feld's 100 bison tries for 45 days challenge.
That I actually used to record, it was 2021. I recorded most all of his 100 bison tries.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Videos. Yeah, because that's where I did my internship, was with that staff, Coach Feld and Coach Eaton and all them. And so once that rolled around, the 45-day challenge, it was like trying to come up with crazy ways he can do curls and then recording. And dude, I'm so serious, right? I'm recording Coach Feld one time, and he's going to do his classic, like, hey, like whatever. And so like, I'm like recording him, right? And I'm kind of just like swaying forth, kind of making it look natural. And he's doing curls and he's just looking out the window, and he hits me with that, dude. And I like kind of like, I wasn't expecting it. You didn't give me a heads up that you were gonna just do one of those. Like, at least give me a heads up. And I kind of like flinch. It's like, come on, dude, do it again. And I was like, oh shit, like my bad. Like, hold on. It was so funny, and just like seeing all the different ways that he was coming up with how to do curls or making those videos or whatever. And sometimes, dude, he does this style of video where he's just like constantly yelling, doing curls or triceps in like different areas.
Yeah.
And so he'll go into his office and he'll edit that video. I don't know if no one ever gave him headphones or told him that the sound quality is a lot better when you're editing video through headphones or what, but full blast, 12 videos in a row of just like yelling at the top of his lungs, full blast on his Mac. And he's trying to match all the pitches together so that it sounds like one long yell.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, if you only knew. But that was one of those experiences at Oregon that like I would never give up, because I was a huge Oregon Ducks fan growing up. Like, watched like all their football games, grew up like the biggest Oregon fan. And so once I got accepted to their internship, like rolled up the first day to like their practice facilities and the weight room and stuff, and just like, oh my God. Like the only other time that's compared to that is like when I walked into Sorinex and I was like, this is the place that I've seen all these videos and all these photos of, like, here it is.
Yeah.
And so being able to work at Oregon and then being able to work at Sorinex, they go hand in hand. Like, it's awesome.
Man. That's
awesome.
amazing. That's how we felt going into Sorinex. We're like, here it is.
It was insane. And yeah, we did the 100 Bison Tries program this year too. It's insane. It does make your workout a little longer because it's just right at the end that I do it, but it's worth it.
Yeah, you can always get a little extra juicy pump in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So no, dude, that's like, Coach Feld's great dude, and just like the idea behind it, like giving back to Oregon Special Olympics and stuff like that. Like, you can't pick something better. Like just to pick something with a great cause, and then let's get a pump on for it, and all that. So no, they crushed it this year. So
yeah, that's awesome. So I'm curious. So like, I know obviously like you do the Squatober in December and everything. What does your training kind of look like after? Like when January rolls around? I know that's always like a biggest thing. That's been the biggest thing for me. I'm like, dang it, like what do I do now?
Well, it's weird because like I've been a strength conditioning coach for the past 6 years. So a lot of my training was like either trying different things that I would do with athletes, or kind of like on a functional state where like I would kind of train how I would train my athletes, whether that be like push pull legs, but more so like strength based training, right? So I wasn't doing much hypertrophy or anything like that. And that's just kind of how I was training. I was throwing in like acceleration days, speed days, change of direction days as my cardio. I was jumping a lot. I was doing a lot of things that athletes would do. And then once I got to Sorinex and I saw all the machines and stuff, I was like, you know what? I'm going to have a consistent eating schedule now. And I have all these machines here. And I got one of the top bodybuilders in the state that works here. Like, let's put on some mass. I was like, let's train, let's do push pull legs, but let's train hypertrophy focused and do, our sets of 12 or whatever it is. Mind you, a volume set for me when I was strength training was 5. Like anything over 5, I was like, oof,
Yeah.
nope, unless it was arms, right? But I went on a little bit of a hypertrophy phase. I think I went from I got there at like 175, and then I got up right to like 196. And then I'm going to Mexico in like a week, so I've been on this little baby cut.
Yeah. Get the beach body going.
I was like, well, dude, I was doing so good, and I was like, dude, I've never been this heavy and like felt this strong, and been able to carry myself like this, except for when I try to do some box jumps. I was like, this 196-pound frame does not move like I did at 170. Like, kind of hurts. I don't float as well. And so now that I'm in this kind of little mini cut, I've been kind of going back to just like a true strength training, but keeping my accessory work just true hypertrophy. So like all my accessory stuff, whether it be like single arm row or anything like that, has been hypertrophy based, and then all my compound movements have been strength based.
So kind of like a power building type.
Yeah, kind of like a little power building split.
Yeah.
I love doing like, for the longest time I was on a big conjugate kick, and I was doing like dynamic effort and max effort like all the time. So sometimes like if I walk in and I'm just feeling good, I'll throw on some chains and do dynamic stuff or stuff like that. But
yeah,
that December takes it out of me, dude. That December is
Dude.
Yeah, it's funny because for me it's like every time I think of December, so my garage, I got to get it tuned up, but I only use like an electric heater, and we're up here in Michigan. So the wintertime is freaking cold, and I always incorporate, just the mindset with December. I'm like, cold bars, cold plates, but we got to get it in, crank up that electric heater, but hey, it's not stopping us.
That's one of those things too. It's like the feeling of like a cold barbell. There's nothing like a cold barbell, and you go to grab that thing and you're like, this is going to suck.
Yeah.
But guess what? We're going to do it.
Yeah.
We're going to get it in. So
It burns.
Stacking W's.
Yeah.
Stacking W's.
It's funny. I've gone through so many different phases of like, fluctuation of body weight and training styles. It was so prior to when I was in the military, it was like I'd just find when I was first getting into lifting, I would just find like bodybuilding.com workout, stuff online like that. And I started out at Planet Fitness. It wasn't until I was in the military I really found strength training. And it was around that time when I found that Squatober post. And I got into that. And I was always like, I'm a shorter guy. I'm 5'6". So my body weight's always been kind of around like 150, 160. And I started, doing the strength training, started body weight's going up, right? And I'm like, all right, I was sitting around like 180. My heaviest ever was a few years ago when I got out of the military. I was 200 even. 200 pounds for 5'6".
I can't do it. I can't break 200. I'm like 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah.
I cannot break 200, dude. And I was eating everything in sight. I could not break 200.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw it, I went to a friend's house. I stepped on the scale, and I'm like, 200. I'm like, holy.
Dude, when I was here, so I started like, this goes back to Oregon. Like I'm looking at how to use some different Sorinex equipment. I stumbled upon Alex Good's page. He's, big bodybuilder that we have that's on staff. He's about to compete in like next month, I think he competes, and he'll get his pro card. But like I knew of him, right? And so I met him, blah, blah, blah. We're talking. I know he's got a YouTube. I know he's got, plenty of followers on Instagram, and I'm putting the bug in his ear. I'm just like, dude, you gotta start the YouTube back up. You got to do it. Like I'll film for you. I'll edit for you. that was my first time editing YouTube videos, and editing a 30-minute YouTube video is way different than editing a minute and 30 long or minute long reel or 15-second reel.
Tell me about it.
I hit a leg day with him, and we get done. This was the most insane leg day I've ever had. I think on my Apple Watch, I burned like 1,600 calories. Like, I'm talking insane. And so we get done, and we're kind of sitting around the table, and it's like this old little gym, and it's like, dude, how much are you weighing nowadays? And I was like, I don't know, like maybe 180, like hovering around 180. I step on the scale, and it was like 194. And he's like, you are not 180, my guy. And I was like, I haven't been 190 and above since like COVID. Like,
Yeah.
what the heck? And so like, that's when I realized, I was like, oh shoot, like having a consistent eating schedule, because personal training killed my eating schedule.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just consistently training and hard work. Like, he's like, dude, you are not 180. I was just like, oh,
Heck, oh,
you know,
look at
that. So, but like, just reminded me of like stepping on the scale and seeing like that number, and I was like, are we sure this is right? Like, you sure? And so I stepped, and it's funny because I stepped on a digital scale, and then right next, that's one of those older ones that's got the slider on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll step on that one. That one, it's not gonna lie to you. And so we step on it. 194. I was like, I guess that's where we're at
Hey,
now. So.
it is what it is.
Yeah, dude. That's one of those things that it was just like so surprising. I was just like,
That's how I felt when I saw the 200. I was like, you're shitting me. No way. I always resort back to, you know, it's just super fun for me. Like, I get into these phases where I'm like, all right, I'm going to cut down. I'm going to start doing a little bit of more cardio, running and stuff like that. Man, I always resort back to just being like, I want to lift heavy. I'm going to eat everything in sight. I always go back to it. It's just fun. I know some people are like, you got to be strict. I'm like, no,
it's the best.
I'm like, I just want to eat everything and lift heavy weight.
Especially this time of the year.
Dude, eat like as much like steak, chicken, whatever, mashed potatoes, load those mashed potatoes, whatever it is, like I'm going to eat it.
Yep.
And then like, I'm going to lift heavy. That's like my favorite thing to do. And then recently someone was like, dude, can you run a mile? And I was like, yeah, I can run a mile. Like, what do you mean can I run a mile? Dude, I did the Murph, and I thought I was going to die in the mile.
Yeah.
Like, my calves were not used to like running. My feet were like just hurting. Like, I was like, dude, I really can't run a mile. Like, I don't know that I could do this very good. Like, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna run a mile like every day. And so like for like 15 days straight, I was running just like a mile, just like seeing if I can get like a little bit of conditioning. And I was like, that's it though. Everyone's like, are you ever going to do more than a mile? Like, you just keep posting your mile time. I was like, no, I don't like to run. I'm only doing this because like, if someone asks you if you can run a mile, you better be able to run a freaking mile, you know? And so I was like, I don't have any purpose to run any further. One of my buddies tried to get me to do a 5K. I was like, no shot.
No, thanks.
Nope. So
I hate running.
Yeah. I did the Murph last year, and man, oh my God. It just so happened to be on like one of the hottest days of the year too. It was like 90 something. Real field was like over 100, and I did the Murph. I'm like, oh my God, why am I doing this to myself?
Dude, the Murph is a freaking beast, and you like, then you got to run that mile at the very end, and you're like,
yeah,
I don't want to do it.
See, I've always found with myself, if I keep my body weight at a certain point, cardio, like if I got to get up and run, I can do it. It's when I'm not doing that cardio or not doing that running and my body weight starts going up, that's where it hits me. But if I stick around, like right now I'm 165, if I stick around this weight, cardio's okay. Like if I got to get up and run, I can do it. But I've been so burnt out from running because I used to do so much running in the Army, running up to like 5 miles, doing 12-mile ruck marches, and it's like just that high intense cardio is like, man, I'm so burnt out from it. And especially because I never had a choice. It's like, you got to do this, right? And it's like,
literally have to. Literally, you have to do it.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like I got no choice. So when I got out, I was like, I'm never running again.
How did day one go for you guys, Squatober?
Oh, great. I was finally like leading up to Squatober, I was kind of just, doing little things here and there. I was doing the prep. It was like, I'm like, I just need like to be locked in and like have that program tell me what to do, you know, and so I can lock in and just follow that to a T.
Yeah. I noticed, I was like, I felt really, really good after today. And I was like, there's got to be something. And I was like, let me look. And I was like, there it is. I was like, there it is.
There it
And
is.
so,
Yeah.
no, it's funny because like, dude, all of my coworkers and like everybody that like I used to encourage to do Squatober, they're like, it looks like your legs in these shorts that are on the website. I'm like, it is like that's my job. And so like it's funny because like one day there was like just nobody in the office. I think it was like storming pretty bad or something. And so like I'm upstairs, I'm kind of just finishing the day, and I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna try to knock out all these photos and at least get them into Lightroom, and I can take my computer home and edit from there. And so like I'm sitting there and I'm like, I just gotta get some on body photos of these shorts. And so I'm like, you know, whatever. Let me put this on. Let me set this self timer on here. Let me see if I can get this lighting right. And so like took just like just messing around to see if it could work. And they're like, did you just take these photos of yourself? Like at HQ? I was like, yeah, there was no one in the office. And so I was just like, I'm gonna get it done.
Yeah.
So
Is it you in the pictures of the shorts this year?
There's two. There's
I know someone's
There's a
got their
couple of 'em.
quads tatted.
That's me.
That's you?
That's me.
Okay. Yeah. We were just talking about that a couple days ago, the shorts. And I seen the tattoo. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, this guy's got his quads tatted.
That's why, like, someone was like, I swear those are your tattoos. And I was like, yep, usually I'm behind the camera, but that one we made work. So
I know that was you with the hat too. The hat.
I did the hat. Yeah, the guy that we had didn't want to wear it forward, and I was like, dude, I need the forward shot too.
You
Like,
have to kind of.
he's like, no, dude, I only wear it backwards, and I was like, all right. So,
what's your favorite? What's your favorite piece of merch this year? I know I always have like a favorite every year. It's hard to choose. I love it all, but
it's hard to compete with the with this Summer Strong apparel that we do, because we only sell the Summer Strong apparel at Summer Strong, and so we can be a little bit more, you know, we can toe the line of like, this looks like a band t-shirt. Yeah, it's basically a one of one of that band. Like, you know, we can do that because we're not promoting it online and we're not selling it online. It's just like, that's the event shirt. And so, dude, one of my favorite pieces that I have, God, I think I got two, but the most recent one I left on an airplane. It was it's like a tan hoodie, and it's like Metallica font, and it's just like got Sorinex on it. And that one's, I used to wear that one all the time. Luckily I went and just got another one. And then when I was at Oregon and we did Squatober, Oregon's rival is Oregon State, and Oregon State is black and orange. And so can't really wear black and orange on campus, in the weight room, wherever. So Sorinex would send us custom black and green Squatober shirts.
Oh, I remember seeing Coach Feld with one.
So when they would send these black and like lime green shirts, and I remember walking in one day with that shirt on, and they were like, how did you get the Oregon shirt? And I was like, you guys sent us this when I was at Oregon. And we sent some out this year, and our t-shirt guy was like, yo, I'm doing a batch for Oregon, you want in? And I was like, absolutely. Absolutely. So I got the black and green Squatober shirt for this year. So
that's awesome. That sounds cool. I want one.
Well, it's like one of those things, we send out so many shirts, and like people who know it. Like, you see someone else in the Squatober shirt, you're like, dude, awesome. I know you grinded it out, whatever. Then you see someone in like a black and lime green Squatober shirt, and you're like, hold on now.
Hold on.
What is that? Yeah. So
I think one of my favorite pieces, I have a couple of them. I have two different colors. I like the long sleeve you guys have. It says live the code. Yeah. I like that piece.
Yeah, dude, a lot of our I like a lot of our outdoor, and I like a lot of our military stuff, like anything that's like on our military colorways, even just like our basic like Sorinex strength conditioning that are like our military colorways, or our outdoor stuff. I love our outdoor stuff. Doing like my first week of work was winter strong, and so like the most unconventional start to your desk job ever is being on the farm in the cold with Bert shooting a sniper off the top of a brewery truck, like what's going on. So like a lot of the outdoor stuff is super cool. Now favorite piece that we make, dude, our low row, we have our low row machine.
Yeah.
That thing, I use that thing religiously. That is like one of my favorite pieces in HQ for sure. But dude, we've been coming out with some banger machines lately. Like our standing belt squat, like not our old J squat, but our new belt squat. The Ravens actually got it attached to the back of their racks. Oh, and so it's it's a better version of a pit shark essentially that attaches to the back of your rack, and it is solid.
That's awesome.
It's like a candy store in there, dude. You just
walk in. I know. That's how it was for us. It's like, oh my God. And you guys do have some of the best machines I think I've ever seen and played around with. And when we went there that day, like I said, just we're in like a candy store, just looking at everything. Like I got to try every single piece of equipment that's in here.
Yeah, I remember seeing the Squatober bar too.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the first one you guys came out with.
The orange one?
Yeah, they had that one. I think they also had the black one with the orange logo on it.
Yeah, we got a couple of different ones out floating around right now.
Yeah.
I think, dude, one of the first times, like they'll bring a machine in that's like R&D. So like, we're still gonna mess with it, whatever. But like, let's get a couple guys down here and let's just freaking use the shit out of this thing. And it's just like, here's some feedback. This is what this is what they don't like. This is how it feels. This is how it doesn't feel. Like whatever. And it's super cool to see like a company that makes such high level stuff still take the input in of like people who are going to train on it or people that like just love what we do, so
yeah, I love that. Even though Sorinex is the big equipment company, the fact that you guys even make programs and interact with all your fans essentially, like I think that's awesome. Like it just brings more to Sorinex and like creates this community of people. And like we look forward to these months every year. And once they're over, we're sad. And then we look forward to it again. Like, just from that, like that's just amazing that you guys do that.
Yeah, you guys will definitely have to come out to a Summer Strong.
Oh, we will. We're going to the next one no matter what.
Yeah.
Dude, like to have like this last year, to have Ed Cohen just go up there and like kind of stand there and then be like, I can talk to you guys about, how's the world's best deadlifter, but I'd rather just show you. Like tell you what it's like going in.
Yeah.
And like just like so, and then like they get done presenting and then they're just there to hang out and network with everyone else.
Yeah.
Right. Like we don't pay them tens of thousands of dollars to come in and talk. They do it because they love the game. Like they love the culture of strength training. And so like to have just the stack of people that we bring in, but then like you go from listening to someone have an awesome, talk at the end of the night to you walk out and now you're in the beer garden and we're doing beer games. And it's just like, dude, what the heck is going on right now? Like Bert's holding the kettlebell upside down and chugging a beer. Like what, what are we doing? And so,
oh my God,
just like the culture of just like, just, it's not one of those things that you got to put a front on for. It's not like, every day you got to go in and figure out how we're going to convince everybody that what we do is what we believe. It's like, that's it. That's just what we do like every day. So, and it's tough. Like, dude, I don't know how many times, like, cause I have home gym stuff. And so like, I got an Elite FTS rack off Facebook Marketplace for like $1,000 with some weights and stuff. Like, and it was plenty for me. And then like seeing this side of it where like home gym guys are like, Sorinex wants to charge me $15,000 to come and set up this stuff and get this and get these weights and stuff and do all this. Like, yeah, dude, I want to drive a Ferrari sometimes too, but I can't do it. You know, like I can't just buy, you know, a Ford Raptor if I want to. Like, I'm going to have to drive my freaking Tacoma around for a little bit and then, you know, maybe I'll get there. But it's so interesting because like, I look at the garage gym stuff like, dude, if like people will invest so much money into necessities, right? Like people are going to spend whatever amount of money on a car because you know you can make your monthly payment on it, even though it's got a price tag of $50,000. Like, all right, great. You know, I'm going to pay this $500 every month for the next 72 months or whatever it is, right? If they just realized how much training and like just being healthy and physically active or whatever, like a lot more people in the world would have some workout equipment at home.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, that investment in yourself may not always be that like shiny new car that's just sitting outside. That investment in yourself is going to be like 10 years later when you can still go on that crazy hike that you wanted to go on to, or, you know, do whatever you want to do without hurting, you know, all the time. So that's one of those things that's just like, seeing this side of it, it's just like, you want people to understand that investment in themselves so bad.
Yeah,
I know.
That was one of the biggest investments that I made was, you know, I had saved up a lot of money in the military and a lot of that money went towards my equipment that I have right now in my garage gym, is because I knew I didn't want to really deal with the public gyms. And I knew that with work and everything going on, it's like, all right, I want to have my own space at home, but not just for me, but for everybody that I work out with, friends, family. You know, I want to create this little garage gym. And not only that, I want to make sure they have like some of the best possible equipment. Right. And it's honestly been a game changer, just having that own space and being able to do these workouts like Squatober, December in the comfort of my own home. It's been a game changer, man. And it's honestly the best investment.
It's the best, dude. It's the best. Having a space where you can go out and just like on your worst day, you can go out there and be by yourself and just, you know, let it loose.
Yeah.
On your best day, you can go out there and you can just let it loose. Like it's a place where like so much great comes out of that, just like you don't realize in the moment, but then like after the fact, you're like,
yeah,
you know, that was awesome.
It's like you can act a lot differently, you know, than you can in a public gym. You get a little crazy, you crank up that music volume, you're screaming, you're yelling, you know.
Everyone's passing around the smelling salts, like,
oh yeah, you got them right.
Yeah, dude.
It's funny. I have a funny story about that. So December, this was a couple years ago, me and my buddy. So we were prepping for the PR day for December, right? And it was probably like 2 a.m. It was the day before the PR day. And so my birthday is, well, this has nothing to do with my birthday, but so December, we're sitting there, we're watching like Rocky and we're like eating, we're like fueling up and everything for PR the next day. And then it's like 2:30 a.m. We look at each other. We're like, why don't we just go do it right now?
Let's go do it.
They're like, we could go out back. All the equipment's here. You know, screw it. Let's do it right now. So we're going out at like 2:30 a.m. And we're like, all right, we're going to PR right now. Like we can't wait until tomorrow. We're ready. We just watched some Rocky. We're hype. And it's like, hey, you can't do that in a public gym, buddy.
No, you can't.
No. And just to like just to be able to do that, like that's enough. That is enough,
it.
right?
Yeah.
And that's awesome, dude. That's one of the best ones that I've heard of. Like, like, why are we waiting? Let's go do it.
Like,
I've had a couple people hit it like the PR party for Squatober. Like, nah, dude, I'm not waiting. Like, I feel good today. And then like, they won't hit the number they want. And then they'll come back the next day and just smoke it, dude.
Yeah.
Just like, it's like they just sat all night in bed, like just didn't sleep and were just pissed at the world that they didn't hit that. And they come in the next day and they're like, I got this.
They got the fire going now, you know, they got a mission. Dude. That's what I was going to say with my birthday. So my birthday's on Halloween. So we always try to have like a big PR party and everything. It's like birthday PR party. I've had people tell me before, they're like, what are you doing out there working out? It's your birthday. I'm like, it's PR day, baby. Like,
let's freaking go. That's awesome, dude.
We did that with December one year. I think we did PR day. We didn't hit what we wanted, and we tried it again. And we hit
There
it.
was like a redemption day or something like that one of the
Yeah.
years, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
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 Yeah, usually if it falls like on a weird day where it ends, they'll the PR party can depend on what day it is, but dude, what a couple of months. What a couple of months that is.
We just know going into we're just like these next couple months are it's gonna be a lot of fun, a lot of pain, but we're gonna have fun. Like that's it.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Best time to lock
It's the
in,
best.
you know.
It's the best time.
When it's dude, it can be a reset for you too. Like if
Yeah.
you've been kind of out of it for a couple months or inconsistent or work's been just all over you and you're like, I'm not gonna miss Squatober though. So
Yeah.
That's exactly where I am right now is with work because I work nights, 12-hour night shift. And it's like my training was kind of just dabbled everywhere. You know, like when I'm working, I'm like, I'll take a rest day and work, work out tomorrow. But it's like now with Squatober here, it's like, all right, time to dial it up, lock in, make sure I'm getting in every single day. And to me, I'm like, I don't have no choice. Like I'm going to make sure I'm getting it in, it's that perfect reset just to lock in with training again and not skip those days.
Yeah.
stacking W's, dude. Even on your worst day, where you're tired and you still go in and you get it done when you didn't want to and you didn't think you can do it. It's like that's enough.
Yeah.
It's enough for that one more day, and that one more day leads to the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. Next thing you know, you stacked up 30 days, 31 days of hard work and discipline, and it's just like the most rewarding, dude. Like it's like let's go. And there's just no better feeling. There's no better feeling than putting a weight that you're like kind of uncomfortable with on your back, and you're just like crush it.
Yeah.
You just nail it, and it's just like let's go.
Those mental battles, like we were talking about, it's like this might kill me, but you know what? Hype myself up, get these smelling salts, and it's like, all right, we're gonna crush it.
Right.
Just get that adrenaline spike, your legs shaking a little bit. You're, all right.
Seriously.
There's something also just so like special about you. Just so you wake up and you just see that Squatober post. You have no idea what you're doing the next day. And then you just see it and you're like, all right, that's it. Who cares if it's 80%? That's it. Like, who cares?
It's so funny because, yesterday, Aaron sent us a text in the morning. He's like, hey, like dropping the post at noon, just make sure you guys collab with us. Like, so both pages have it. And it's like, it needs to be done right at 12, like immediately at 12. And it's like sitting there on our Instagram, like, oh, there it is. Like post it. And then just like accept collaboration. And then just like phone blowing up because there's just so many shares and likes and everything. And you're just going through like everyone's posting stories. And it's just so awesome to see like the wide variety of like old, young, male, female, whatever it is, just like they all hit. So many people hit the same workout today. So many people hit the same exact workout today.
That's cool.
So it's just like it's that community, dude.
I know he's always been on top of it. That release time, like it's always there, right on the dot.
Dude, right away. And I remember like just being on the other side of it, like, all right, what do we got tomorrow? Just what do we got tomorrow? What do we got tomorrow? And I kind of freaking miss it. I kind of miss that aspect of it. I'm not gonna lie. So
that surprise,
Yeah, it'll be. I'm excited for this year for sure, especially getting to be on this side of it and all that. So
yeah.
How is it? I've always been curious. I've been keeping up with him for a long time too. Dead Center working with McKim Daniel. That guy's hilarious, man. The Little Debbie snacks.
I have like 2 or 3 of his shirts with a Little Debbie snack, like whatever. It's awesome.
So the first time I ever met Dan, I got flown out to University of Nebraska. We just installed their weight room, and that was my first room I was gonna do media on. Like I was gonna video the whole room, take all the photos, like big job, huge weight room. And that's the first time I ever met Dan. So like I didn't need to be in the weight room as early as the other guys. So like instead I went on campus and threw up the drone and got some drone shots and got just some like, establishing shots of just campus and whatnot. And so whatever. And I get a call and they're like, hey, we're gonna go grab some lunch. Like, where you at? We'll pick you up. And I get in and I see Dan, and Dan's in the middle of like in the middle seat of the back row, and he is just like seated there, just like massive, and he like looks over, just like so happy. Get in, like let's go. And it was just like, dude, he is the nicest. He's got to be the nicest guy I've ever met, like hands down. And then like, you don't think he can tap into this like deadlift, like get after it, like it just like mode because he's so nice. And so like the first time at CSCCA where I saw him, get under the bar and just pull some weight, I was like, dude, this guy's got it. So dude, he's awesome. Like one of the first asked me because I had my camera and stuff. He's like, so what's your like editing preference of choice? Like, what are you using? Are you using like CapCut? Or are you using like Final Cut or what? And I was like, no. I was like, can't really just throw my footage in CapCut right now. Like, all right. And so like seeing like all of his videos where he does like he plays all the different characters of like a power lifter and a strongman and a CrossFitter, like and just like that's why he's asking me, is because he's just like he just probably sits on those, makes quick little videos and then goes on. But no, dude, I've been probably within this last year, we switched over to DaVinci. And so one of the things we have now that we're doing is like we're trying to do like a lot of motion graphics because we want to tap into a little bit of just educational stuff. And so like measuring different angles and tracking stuff and all that stuff. And I'm like, a little bit out of the wheelhouse, but we're gonna learn it. So like today I nailed some stuff like with that, but it's cool because like challenge to learn stuff every day or challenge to push the standard of what we do or what we've done in the past, and how can we do it because things are changing so rapidly. It used to be like tell a great story and that's what it was no matter how long it is. And then it was like for a little bit it was like 10 seconds max and something's got to change every half a second like to keep someone engaged. And I was like, all right, well now like where are we at? And so like to be in an industry where like marketing is changing so much and it's always going to keep on changing with like whose stuff's getting pushed, what do we like more, are we ever going to go back to horizontal content, like what are we doing, and then being in a place where it's like every day is something badass to do. Hey, I need you to go get some behind the scene footage of this. Hey, we got Purdue's logos are coming through the shop. Like, let's make sure we grab some photos of that. Putting together a story of like how the University of Washington's weight room came to be. And then like having a team, I would say like there's salesmen, there's marketers, there's all that. But like at the end of the day, everyone's an employee of Sorinex because they love what we do. And so like there's no lack of help, no lack of input, no lack of whatever that can kind of help. And that's, dude, one of the best work environments. So
sounds like a dream, honestly, dude, like working over there.
When I tell you when it was so funny because once it opened up, like I'm telling everybody, I'm telling my friends, I'm telling literally everybody, I'm like, yeah, I might throw my portfolio at them and just kind of see. And everyone's like, dude, that's like perfect for you. But like I had just taken this director of performance job with D1 Dallas where I was kind of like overseeing stuff and I was making really good money. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to kind of feel it out, whatever. Like saying that, but in the back of my head, I'm like, I want this job. I know I want this job. And then like I sat down with my boss, and me and my boss have an awesome relationship, worked for him for 3 years, like gone back and forth and like just got better because of it. And so sit down with him and he's like, you don't got to tell me. He's like, that's the perfect job for you. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to take it. And he was like, as much as I want to try to counter offer you, as much as I want to try to do this and that, he's like, that's a place where it seems like you should be. And I was like, yeah. Even though like the hardest part is probably being literally across the country from my family, but this job has allowed me to actually see my family more than when I was personal training and stuff like that. So
It's perfect.
it's worked out for the better for sure.
That's good.
That's awesome. Well, hey, it's been a pleasure having you on.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ethan and I, we're tremendous fans of Sorinex. We love what you guys are doing. I mean, every time something's coming out, we're stoked. We're up to date on everything.
Yeah.
So it's been a pleasure having you on, man. Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys bringing me on. I mean, Ethan, you got my number. Feel free to share it. And definitely keep in contact. I know you mentioned that you guys want to have, maybe some future guests or whatever. So maybe we can line something up and keep you guys in the loop or whatever. And then you just stay in contact. And we'll see if we get some of your guys' Instagram stories shared on some Squatober pages or something like that. And then go from there. Man. But I really do appreciate you guys bringing me on.
Anytime, man. We appreciate what you guys do. We're probably some of your biggest fans. So.
We are, Man, just keep it up. And your content has been great too. I love, me being a film fanatic. Watching your workout videos, they're super cinematic, dude. I don't know how you're color grading those, but you have that nice vintage look to them, and that I notice. And I just love the way you make them. So keep that up too.
Dude, it's so funny because like someone was like, "Are you just like filming your videos to like film your videos?" And I'm like, dude, a lot of my videos have a lot of different aspects in it just because I'm trying different stuff. Like I'll try a different color grade, or like I'll shoot with like a 70 to 200, or I'll shoot to like at like 16 millimeters and just see like what's different and try different things. Or if I find a video on like sound design, like I just throw my own stuff in there because like I'm in there by myself lifting because no one trains in the morning, and it's like all my gear's there, throw it in and just have fun with it. So at the end of the day, awesome. Like we talked about, if you aren't taking that step to put yourself out there and get comfortable, you never learn. So trying to grow and all that. So
that's awesome.
Thank you so much, man.
Awesome. Yeah, we appreciate you.
We appreciate it.
Absolutely appreciate y'all, man.
Pleasure having Jacob on the show this evening. Obviously, Ethan and I have been fans of Sorinex for many years now, partaking in Sorinex Squatober and December. We actually had the chance to go down to Sorinex HQ a couple years ago. The hospitality, they're super welcoming. We had a great time down there, and it was very interesting to speak with somebody that is involved in all of that, the marketing of Squatober and December, and the editing and the promotion of all the merchandise was super interesting. So, Jacob, it was a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, man. And, just seeing the inside of like how you record everything and just it makes me so jealous. I just want to work there. That's it. I just want to work there. But anyways, we have a standard ending.
Standard.
Actually,
you know what? I need to take these from you, because I need these for the Squatober workouts.
Well, you got to bring them back next episode.
So,
all right, here we go. If you guys don't know, we smell smelling salts at the end of each episode. Devin is no longer a fan of this, but I like to keep things consistent.
We need to get new ones. That's a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Just the left nostril on that one.
All right, this one is not working for me. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm not acting, but hold on. We got a second barrel here. This is a double barrel.
No, this one's still hitting.
Let me see if this one hits.
You can probably see my eyes.
Let me see. Not strong enough. That one was a little stronger. It was. All right, let me see that one. Let's see it. All right. Diablo.
Yep.
Skull smash. All right.
Get a little bit more.
All right. Oh, shit. Okay.
I don't know why you got that close. I told you that one was hitting. Man's crying now.
Yeah, I'm awake. Yeah, thank you, Jacob, for coming on the show. Pleasure having you.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to the rest of Squatober and the upcoming December.